Hello Game Boys and Game Girls, I'm the Game Boy Guru, and as you can see, I have shaved my face. I did so for my 40th birthday because I decided it was time for a change, and also because, I don't know, I have other reasons, but none of that matters here. I got a couple of videos that I'm going to do for you. One pickups video and this goodie box video where my buddy Zagnorch once again comes through to gets me all kinds of cool stuff here. And of course, I've shown you some of the stuff I'm going to be sending to him, but now you're going to see what he snagged for me. So let us check out. He's got two boxes here that he sent me, and so there's all kinds of cool stuff that we'll be able to take a look at. So let's start with some original PlayStation games. We've got Driver 2, which I did not have as of yet. Looks like maybe disc is loose on that one. We've got Medal of Honor Greatest Hits. I did not have the Greatest Hits version of that yet. We have Extreme Go-Kart Racing by Age Tech or Agatech. I think it's Age Tech. One of the Age Tech releases I didn't have. I've got a number of them, but I think they have quite a library on the original PlayStation. And let's see here. We've got Crosswords Plus on the 3DS. Brain Age 2 for the DS. I think I've got Brain Age already, so that's pretty cool. We've got quite a different assortment of different games and systems. We have 1080 snowboarding, or 1080 snowboarding, and someone wrote 1080 on the top there so they could identify it, presumably in their stack of games. And Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six, which would be interesting to compare that to the original PlayStation version at some point. Got this lovely little thing here that looks like a Nintendo DS, but when you open it up, it's actually a DS cartridge case. So that's kind of a cool little novelty item. Also holds one short stylus, like the collapsible type, and one longer stylus. So that's kind of a cool item there. Fun to have that. Of course, we couldn't have a. We've got one other N64 game that I forgot he was sending me is Pokemon Snap. Never been a Pokemon person, but why not? Wouldn't be a box from Zagnorch without some PSP stuff because he's always on the hunt for me for that. So we've got Madden NFL 10, which I didn't have. MVP Baseball, which I didn't have. And the UMD movie of Charlie's Angels. Let's see here. We've got. He sent me a DS that's got some broken stuff on it, and he wants me to do a little bit of a project for him to turn this thing into a multicolored DS. So I'm going to be tearing into that here reasonably soon. Got a couple of Xbox games. We got Mech Assault 2 Lone Wolf Limited Edition. I've got the standard version of this already, but this has two discs. And let's see here. Disc 2. This doesn't say exactly what disc 2 gives you, but cool to have that. I like the sort of foil shiny look on the cover there. Always enjoy that. And then this exhibition demo disc for Xbox. 9 Xbox playable demos inside. So there's one for Splinter Cell, Toe Jam and Earl 3, Panzer Dragoon Orta, fantastic game, NFL Fever 2003, Time Splitters 2, Whacked, Halo Combat Evolved, Madden NFL 2003, and Quantum Redshift, and a trailer for Halo 2. So cool stuff there. We've got the Xbox 360 version of Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter, which I did not have. And the other Xbox 360 game here is Enchanted Arms, which is this nice little slipcover deal with the Xbox 360 game in it, and this limited edition graphic novel, which is kind of cool because it's set up just like a standard Japanese manga where everything goes in reverse to what you would see in a Western title. So that's pretty cool. Kind of glad to have that. This particular game I don't think reviewed stellar, but cool to have nonetheless for the that sort of limited edition kind of scenario. A whole bunch of PS2 games here. We got Guilty Gear X2, and I've got X2 Reloaded, I think it is, on the Xbox. So this is the slightly inferior version of that, I would say. Front Mission 4, and I've never played any of the Front Mission games, but Mech Combat, so yeah. A nice steelbook of Final Fantasy XII. This is collector's edition, so cool to have that. And a standard edition of Final Fantasy XII, not to be outdone. DOA 2 Hardcore. I've got the DOA 2 Ultimate Edition or whatever it is on Xbox. The only version of DOA 2 I don't have is the original Dreamcast version. So hint hint to anyone out there, I am still looking for that. I've got Greatest Hits version of Disgaea Hour of Darkness. Never played any of the Disgaea series. I've got both of the Prinny games for PSP, and those are pretty cool, but I am looking forward to checking these out and maybe putting some time into Disgaea 5 on the Switch when that comes out, just to kind of get a flavor for it. And the Atari Anthology, or Atari Anthology, rather. A bunch of classic Atari games, 18 classic games, arcade games, and then 67 2600 games. So as my 2600 collection grows, I'll probably be looking to score all of these at some point. Another stack of PS2 games here. Soul Calibur 3, which I did not yet have. Jam Pack Volume 13, which has 11 hot new games, including Shadow of the Colossus. These are all demos, of course. Sly 3, Jack X, Ratchet Deadlock, Tiger Woods, PGA Tour 2006, Burnout Revenge, We Love Katamari, Peter Jackson's King Kong, Chronicles of Narnia, NHL 2006, and Karaoke Revolution Party. Jam Pack Summer 2001. Bunch of demos on that. Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts 2. So now I have both 1 and 2. Kengo, Master of Bushido. And this is an interesting cover. The artwork for it is kind of stylized, so it's really, I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but it's really grainy. So if you just looked at this in passing, it might look like a reprint cover. But it's not. This is legit. So it's kind of interesting. But it appears to be a head-to-head Bushido combat game. Katamari Damacy, finally. I've had the PSP Katamari game for a little while, but I've never owned or played the original, so I'm looking forward to this because it's apparently whimsical and absolutely crazy. And Jackass, the game, which I'm sure will be a complete and utter train wreck, and I kind of can't wait to try it. And then also, he got me a Game Boy. And this unit needs a little bit of TLC. You can see it's missing the front screen portion, so I can stick my hands in and on the screen. I'll have to clean that a little bit. But this will be nice because then I can order a brand new screen cover for it. And otherwise, this unit is in reasonably good shape. Needs a little bit of cleanup, a little bit of TLC, like I said. But I'm hoping to maybe use this as my first attempt at a bivert mod and a backlight mod. So I'm hoping to try and do that um, reasonably soon. Order the parts and try to do that. I'm not going to do anything else crazy with it, like put a new shell or anything like that. I'm just going to leave it stock, but do the bivert and backlight mods so that I can kind of start getting a feel for how to do those. So that's box one. Box two is smaller, but he sent me this fun little item. This is kind of interesting. For use with a DSi, it's a game selector. So apparently you put 3 different game cards in here, and then you insert the somewhere into the DSi. Oh, I see. It's like a deal that sort of snaps on underneath. And then there's this little selector switch that you can switch from 1 to 3 and pick which one of these slots you want the game card to run from. So it's kind of handy. You're not always changing games out of the card slot. And I suppose that also helps so that you insert this thing once and then you're not wearing out the spring mechanism in the card slot if you change games out frequently. This way you can just put the games in here and you don't have to mess with it, and the spring-loaded or the spring mechanism is then just kind of left alone. So that's kind of cool, neat item I'll play around with here. Let's see, more PSP stuff. You got Trackspad, portable studio. That'll be interesting to play with. As a bit of a musician myself, I'm very amateur, of course, but this could be interesting to kind of mess around with. Let's see, he got Ridge Racer, so I finally have that for the PSP. Got Flat Out Head On, and those are apparently similar to the Burnout games. The favorites release of Twisted Metal Head On, and I've got the original Black Label release and the Greatest Hits release now, and then I've got the version that comes in the dual pack. So this should complete my Twisted Metal subset, if you will, for the PSP. And finally, Puzzle Quest Challenge of the Warlords. This is apparently highly addictive from people that I've talked to or have listened, seen stuff online, who said that they put this in their PSP and they played it forever. So I'm a little hesitant to throw this one in because I don't want to get sucked in. That's already happened with me on or with Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild, and that has dominated my game time over the last 2 months. But anyway, this is apparently highly addictive. It's like crack for your PSP. This is a Nintendo DSi Nerf Armor. Kind of an interesting item. Just sort of a hard case for it to protect it. And it is also apparently licensed with G.I. Joe, The Rise of Cobra. So, yeah. I'm not sure if it says G.I. Joe anywhere on the actual case or not, but kind of cool. Must have been a tie-in for that DS game when they made this product. And finally, a couple of random games. There's a GameCube preview disc, which is pretty cool. Demos for Splinter Cell, Sonic Adventure DX, Beautiful Joe, and Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg, which is apparently a pretty cool game. So that's kind of a neat deal. This is the first GameCube sort of demo disc that I own, so fun to have that. And finally, one that I've been after for a little while, and that is Resident Evil: The Umbrella Chronicles on the Wii. And so that I finally have. I see it once in a while at GameStop, but it's always a little more than I want to pay for it. Seen it out in the wild a couple of times and wanted to pick it up, but then either the disc is way too scratched and doesn't look repairable, or it has no manual, or it's all water damaged, things like that. And so finally a nice clean copy. So many thanks to Zagnorch for that and for all the items. Seriously, this guy is like a game hunting Jedi, and I am but a mere Padawan, or at least I like to think of myself that way. But yeah, many thanks to Zagnorch for getting me all this stuff, especially for the PSP stuff, as always. The Enchanted Arms box, and of course the Game Boy, so that I can have one to kind of tear into. The Game Boy that I've got right now, my Game Boy that I own, is not the original one I bought way back when, but when because I've mentioned before, I sold my Game Boy so I could fund the purchase of the Sega Genesis, which is on the shelf back behind me. Um, but my senior year in high school, my best friend sold me his Game Boy, which I played with a few times at his house, and we used to play head-to-head Tetris and Dr. Mario and stuff like that. So he sold me his Game Boy. So I really want to keep that one original and stock, and I didn't want to do anything to it, just because of the sentimental value. But this unit I have no memories of, so assuming it works, I'm going to bivert and backlight mod it as soon as I get everything I need. And so once I do that and actually get this going, then maybe I'll do another video later to kind of show off the fact that I've done that, and talk about my experience of doing the mod. So that's all I've got to show you for this video. Like I said, I've got another video I'm going to do that's all pickups, because I went out for an extended, I took a day off work and I did an extended trip where I did a whole weekend full of game hunting. And so it's 3 different cities that I stopped in, and a ton of shops, game stores, pawn shops, Goodwill and thrift stores, and all kinds of stuff. And I picked up a ton of stuff. I literally went buck wild. So it ought to be an interesting video. So be watching for that. But in the meantime, thanks for watching, thanks for playing, and game on.